Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Griffin, and this is Griffin Projects, day number 6 of Vlogmas. That's right, we've made it to day number 6, halfway to double digits, or well, over halfway to double digits. And yep, I'm back at my workstation, and yesterday was really interesting doing the whole live stream thing. I don't know if you checked it out, but if you haven't, it might be interesting for you to see me try to do a live stream. But basically we played around and made an assembly table in SketchUp. But today I got something special for you. But before we do that, let's roll the intro.
Ho ho ho! Merry Vlogmas!
Let's talk about what we have going on today. We are going to be playing around with Fusion360. Now, I must say, I am not even close to proficient in Fusion360. Like SketchUp, I can just, if you watch yesterday, I can like throw together a model pretty fast, especially if it's really, really basic or very like not super complex or whatever. But Fusion360, a whole different beast. Well, you'll see. Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Immediately after I look at Fusion360, I'm just like, what do I do here? So I'm going to try to walk you through it. We're going to just do something basic. Let's just make a tray. You know, I'm going to call it an everyday carry valet tray, or an EDC valet tray, or I don't know, or just a tray, like something that you can put on like your dresser or your nightstand where you like throw your keys or some change or whatever. We're going to design it in Fusion360. Then we're going to go ahead and do all the cam stuff, which is like, it's making the toolpaths so that way we can put it into the CNC machine so it runs. Since it's the free version of Fusion360, I can't do multiple toolpaths, so basically you gotta export two. It's not even that big of a deal, honestly. Without further ado, let's hop in it and let's make one of these trays. It should be so super simple. We should be able to do this so fast, but once again, I am so new to Fusion360. Well, you'll see. You open up Fusion360, of course, it looks really, really intimidating. At least, I mean, even for me, where I'm in SketchUp, like at first, I think I like totally underestimated it. I was like, oh, I'm so good with SketchUp, forget about it. This is gonna be so easy. And then I started, I was like, yeah, it's not that easy. I think it's just like, you know, like with every advanced program, there's just such a learning curve. Anyway, let's get to it. So first things first, what I like to do is I like to start with a new component. So the big thing with Fusion360 versus SketchUp is each like thing that whatever I'm making is its own component, and then a part of that component has multiple sketches. You'll see what I mean. So the component name, let's just call it the EDC Valet Tray. Valet Tray, why not? Hit enter. Okay, now you see it over here on the top left. They call this the browser. What we're going to start with is a new sketch. I'm just going to hit this up here. Then you get to decide which plane you're going to do it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the bottom like that. All right, then it like resets. Fantastic. Now I'm going to hit S on the keyboard, which brings up the sketch shortcuts. I'm going to type in rectangle. We're going to go ahead and do a 2-point rectangle. And I'm just going to lock it down right away to the middle right there. And then none of this is going to matter as far as like the size. Like that's one thing, like I said yesterday in SketchUp, I would just make the shape and then go and do the dimensions after, or like right after. This is a little bit different. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I don't think it's advanced, but it's something that I think is really, really cool actually about Fusion. So I'm going to make this rectangle, right? Which I'm not sure the size. It looks like 2 inches tall by, I don't know. I can't tell how big it is. Maybe 2.5, 3 inches. I don't know. Anyway, come up here to modify, and then we're going to go down to change parameters. Okay, so this is a really cool trick and something that was so missing in SketchUp. Now, I haven't used the newest version of SketchUp, so I'm still stuck in 2017 because it's free. But at any rate, let's go here to the parameters. We're going to hit at the top left, user parameters with the plus button in front of it, which means we're going to make a new one. So let's go ahead and do tray, let's go tray width. And then let's start by 11 inches. That sounds good. Then let's make another parameter, which is tray height. And let's go ahead and make that, let's say 7 inches. All right. Now, one thing that I like to also include is tray depth, which will be like the depth of the tray or the thickness of the board in our instance. So let's say it's probably going to be about 3/4 of an inch. We can always edit this later. And then, okay, I'm going to have radiused corners. So I'm going to also go, let's say tray corner radius. And then they will most likely be, let's say 1/2 inch. And then, let me think. There's going to be a space between the outer edge and then what they call like an offset, which will be like the space between the outer edge and the inner edge. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and define that too with tray inner offset. And in this instance, let's go ahead and just do like 1/4 inch. I was thinking about 1/2 inch, but we don't need that big of a lip. It's basically the lip of the tray. So we'll do 1/4 inch. And then let's go ahead and add one more for inner tray. Let's go inner radius. And then let's call that 375. Enter. Oh, let's do actually one more too, which is tray inner bottom, and let's call that radius, which is going to be like the curve at the bottom. And because the bit is 1/4 inch, we will go ahead and put 0.25. All right. So now we have all these parameters, which is fantastic because we can go ahead and edit those on the fly anytime we want to make like a bigger tray. All we have to do is go into this file and edit that. I'll show you at the end. It's really, really awesome. Now that we've defined the basic rectangle with the parameters, we're going to go in there and start adding the radius corners. So we go up here to the top, and then we're going to hit one of the corners. And instead of leaving that 1.80, we're going to start typing tray. And now you see tray corner radius. We'll go ahead and hit enter. And then there you go. So and now we'll go ahead and get this one again. And go tray corner radius. And now a quick shortcut, we can go, before we hit enter, let's go ahead and hit this corner and this corner. Now hit enter. And they all will be kind of connected, which is great. That's kind of what we want. I'll go ahead and hit S, which brings up the sketch shortcuts, and then we will start typing extrude. Oh, well that's there. I'm not sure because I wasn't taught to use that. So what I do is I'll do press and pull. Whoops. Or that. Ugh. What I'll do is press and pull. So grab that, and then it's going to want you to select one of these faces. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now you see it brought up the little dimension, like what dimension should this extrude to? Should we push or pull? What should we do? So let's go ahead and start typing tray, and then we can go to depth. Awesome. Now if we go ahead and hit enter, and then let's go ahead and move this around so you can see. Wow. Right? I mean, look, it's almost a real thing. It's almost a model. I mean, I just feel like, oh wow, this is so basic. I'd probably be done in SketchUp. But the thing is you know, we all gotta learn. Now what I'm gonna do is I'll go back up here to sketches. I'll hit new sketch. And then you get to decide at this point, where should the new sketch be? Like on which plane? Should it be here on the front? Should it be on the top? Should it be on the side? Well, we're gonna do it on the top because what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna create another sketch that then is offsets from the edge, and then we're gonna extrude it down, which will cut into this first one, but you'll see, watch. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a new sketch. And let's put it at the top, all right? So it goes ahead and resituates us, which is great. Now, what we'll do is we will select up here, you see underneath this modify section, offset. Let's go ahead and click the edge. You see it lights up. It's something we can select, so let's do it. Awesome. Now, what we can do is we can hit tray, and then we're going to look for inner offset from our parameters that we set. Go ahead and hit that. Oh wait, that went the wrong direction. So that is not what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the arrow key, and then in front of it I'm just going to put a hyphen to subtract it. Now you see the red, it is now on the inside. We definitely wanted it like an inner offset, not an outer offset. So go ahead and hit enter at that point. All right. So now we have a really nice offset from that. And if we went in here, which is, I will show you right now. Remember how I said like, maybe we do 1/2 inch, but instead I was like, no, because it's the lip of the tray. Let's do 1/4 inch. Maybe we wanted to do something different, which, you know, maybe we wanted to make it a 1/2 inch or like just test it out. So let's bring up the user parameters. Again, that's underneath modify. So we'll go underneath here and then we'll see where it says inner offset. Let's go in here to this value. Let's go ahead and switch it to 1/2 inch. So now you can kind of see what has happened is the offset is much bigger. But let's go ahead and not do that actually and bring it back. Okay, so what you'll see is we just basically have a shape just hanging out on top. You know, one sketch hanging on top of the other sketch. So what we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and hit the S key, which of course brings up the sketch shortcuts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select, let's do press and pull again. And this time, one thing that we need to do, actually I forgot, let's do 2 extra parameters. Let's go ahead and call this tray inner, let's see here, depth. Like, you know, because the inner depth of it, we could call it anything. We could just call it Sam if we wanted to, but let's try. Let's not go to my Photoshop days where all the layers were called layer 1 copy or layer 2 copy or whatever. So let's call it tray inner depth. And let's say, since it's 3/4 inch, let's leave 1/4 inch between the bottom and the inside. So let's go ahead and set that to 1/2 inch. So go ahead and hit OK. And then from there, now we can go ahead and hit S again, type in, press pull, and then now we're going to go ahead and grab this part of this sketch and see how we have this again. And we can go tray inner depth, but you see what happened. Uh-oh, that is not what we're looking for. So once again, we're going to go ahead and arrow over, put a hyphen in front, and hit enter. And now you can see our tray. Not too bad, right? So we're not quite done yet. So what I'd like to do is add a little radius, because we're going to use a bull bit, which is going to, I believe the bull bit is 1/4 inch, the radius. So we're going to need to add a fillet to this edge right here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So we will go ahead, and you see underneath modify, there's fillet. Okay, grab that, and now we're gonna look. I mean, we could put one here, we could put one there. You can make this thing as rounded as you want it. But right now we're only gonna do this one, which you see is selecting all the way around. So let's go ahead and hit that. And now it wants to know how much. We're at 0. Let's go inner radius, huh? Nice. Okay. Enter. And so now you can see we have a tray with a nice little fillet. So go back to modify. Let's go to change parameters. Let's go inner radius. Oh, okay, so just slightly more than quarter of an inch. So maybe instead let's do a quarter of an inch, because that's probably what I believe what the bit is. So let's go like that. Hit OK. And now let's move it around. Oh yeah, looks nice from the back and then the front. Man. All right. So now that we've done this, which is great, let's go ahead and move on to the actual cam part. Now this is the part where I feel like I fall completely apart, so I apologize ahead of showing you how bad it gets, but let's go ahead and go from design down to manufacture. Okay, it looks the same, right? It's not. There's a little bit of difference. First of all, I have it set to default on inches. However, it almost never seems to stay. So let's go ahead and change that right now, like that. So you see, now that we have the units selected, let's go ahead and click right-click setups, new setup. We're not going to select the machine. The operation we're doing is definitely milling. And then the orientation, we're going to go ahead and select X and Y. So here we go. We need to select the X, which is there. And then now we'll select Y, which is there. And uh-oh, the Z is flipped upside down. You see that? That's not what we want. So let's go ahead and go here, and let's see what we can do about that. Let's go ahead and, yeah, that looks good. Let's see, and maybe, I mean, we could flip the Y too. Let's go like that. Okay, perfect. Now to stock. Now with stock, I usually like to go with a fixed size box, and we're gonna say, you know, it's probably about 12 inches long. And then, you know, the depth is probably going to be, probably like 8 inches. And then the height, I'm going to mill it right to the right correct one completely. So we're going to be fine with that. So next, we're going to go, let's see here, in setup, we need the origin point. Let's go ahead and model box point. Let's see here, model box point, and we're going to go ahead and click right at the bottom left, right there. Sweet. So that's pretty much it for now, for this section. So we hit OK. Now we get to see that, okay, this exists in stock. It's starting to look like what we're doing. Like this is going to be a big piece, but inside is the treasure, the little tray, right? So what we need to do is we need to look up here to all the different options as far as how we're going to actually mill this. Now, don't get too discouraged if you're new to this, and maybe you're a pro, and in that case, if I'm doing anything wrong, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. I always would love a tip or a trick or anything. But I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit adaptive clearing. So it's going to want me to select right now let's see here, it's going to want me to select the border, or like the face, or basically what do I want to clear. So I will always just go with, yep, that's what I want. I use usually the outline border. And then we'll go down here so that we select the pocket. We already did that, sweet. Let's move over to let's go here. We're gonna select the tool. Okay, so I already downloaded the Mana Tool library, which is online, so super easy, just a quick Google search away. And we're gonna look for the bit, which is 45982. So I just went ahead and sorted by description, since it starts with the name, or excuse me, the number of the router bit. So let's go ahead and scroll up to 45, and then we need to go down to 98. Let's see here. 98.2. There it is. Looks pretty. Almost as pretty as it in real life. So let's go ahead and hit select. All right, and now you can see a shadow there. That's looking pretty good. Now it has pretty much all the default information except for the feed rate. I believe, if I remember right, could be double for this particular bit. I think the 40 inches per minute is a little conservative. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, now we got to decide. This is something where we got to decide, okay, where is the bottom of this piece? So I usually like to say, where's the bottom height? Well, that's going to be the model bottom, like straight away. What is the top height? Well, that's going to be the model top. All right, and then you go ahead and hit front right here, and you can see now the safety height and the clearance height, or excuse me, the retract height and the clearance height both look good. They're going to clear the model on movement and all that, so we're good with that. Move over to the next tab, and this is where it gets a little crazy for me, because I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, what are all these settings? So passes, basically, looking at that, everything looks relatively okay, other than I'm going to add both ways, because sometimes I found if you don't do that, it's going to take a little bit longer, because it's going to go over one way, lift up, come back around, do it again. Whereas you could have it go the one way and then just move a little bit and then go the other way. So let's go ahead and do that. And slot clearing, let's look and see what that is. Yeah, why not? Let's use slot clearing. And then multiple depths. Now, I believe a Mana Tool says that you can do a full 3/4. I would never do that. So I'm going to try to be a little conservative here. I mean, look, this is even, let's see here. This is set to 46. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. That sounds good. Stock to leave. Now, if you want to do finishing passes and all that stuff, you would put that there. Like, we're not going to do that. We'll just use a sander, finish it up. It'll be fine. And that's pretty much it. So now, if we did everything correctly, which, yeah, your guess is as good as mine, let's go ahead and hit OK, and it should start generating the toolpath. Let's see, is it going to do it? You can kind of see it. Oh my Lord. It looks like it did it. Holy buckets. Fantastic. Okay, now I do see a big problem here on the corners. Looks like this radius is too small for how big this bit is, or vice versa. So gonna need to probably fix that, but luckily we have another way to do it with user parameters. So But right now, let's, just for the sake of the video and it not being like 4 hours long, let's go ahead and hit simulate, and then we are going to hit play. Let's look at it. All right, it's going down now. Oof, that's looking good. Very nice. Awesome. Now this is at, I believe, close to normal speed. Let's go over here to the right and hit statistics. It looks like it's going to take 10 minutes to do this operation. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch it till it gets through to the ends and see what's going on at these radiuses. I think the radius is like 1/4 of an inch. Probably going to need to be 3/8 or so. Let's see here. Yep. So let's go ahead. I don't think we need to watch the rest of this. I mean, you can speed up or slow it down like that by just adjusting the little slider here. And then, of course, the status is at the bottom. All right. Well, so far, so good. I mean, that looks pretty good. Now that we have the clearing process done, we need to cut it out of the actual stock. So let's go ahead and dive back in. And the next thing we're going to do is not get freaked out by all the different options and whatever. We're going to go ahead and click 2D contour. And then we're going to go to Tool. And instead of the bowl bit, let's go ahead and grab a bit that is 1/4 inch by 1 inch. There we go. Flat end mill. Perfect. All that looks pretty good. Again, I would say the cutting feed rate, you know, on a bit like this, probably like 160-ish, somewhere in there. Now the contour to select. Let's see. Let's go ahead and click select. And we're going to go ahead and click this contour, which is the edge. Actually, let's do the bottom. Right there. Bam. Now, if you want to switch the direction, I believe all you have to do is click it, and it will do that. So it's basically, what side of that contour do you want to do it on the inside, or do you want to do it on the outside? Now, we want to do the outside for sure. Otherwise, we're going to not have a lip. So we're good to go there. We're not going to mess with stock contours like tabs. We could do tabs right now, and I usually like to do triangular, and then instead of that, by number of tabs, not distance, and then I want to select manually. So I'll put one here, one there, one over here, and there, and we don't even have to move the model around. We just got to make sure it's on the highlighted route. So we'll go like that, and the final one right there. Okay, next, go to the next tab, and this, again, we're going to look at the side profile and realize, oh yeah, the bottom height needs to be set to the model bottom, and the top height needs to be set to the model top. Now, if we hit front, we see that looks pretty good. Let's just leave it at that. Now, let's look at these settings. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on, like multiple finishing passes, like what are we gonna do here? What I like to do is I like to keep it pretty simple. You know, like if it's gonna clear or do something, I like to do it both ways. I'm not gonna do a roughing pass, but I will do multiple depths. That's one thing I will do. And so the maximum roughing step down on a 1/4 inch bit, I'm gonna put 1/4 inch. So now I look down and it says finish only at final depth, rough final, use even step downs, order by depth. All that stuff looks okay. Nothing else is selected, that's okay. We look in here, and I don't like to mess around too much. The safe height is a little high. That's why we're seeing red here. So we'll just hit 2, which is the clearance height. And we're going to go ahead and hit OK. So now it sure as heck looks like it's going to cut this baby out, no problem. But let's go ahead and check it. Actions, simulate, and let's go ahead and look at the statistics. How long is this estimated to run? 1 minute. All right. Go ahead and hit OK. And wow. Look at that go. I can't wait to see it on the actual CNC machine. So there we go. I think that's where I'm going to end this day's Vlogmas, mainly because I think it's already pretty long. I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in to day number 6 of Vlogmas. If you like the video, make sure you like it down below. If you have a question about Fusion 360, I may not be the best person to answer, but I'm sure as hell will try if you leave a comment down below. If you have a tip or a trick for me, for Fusion 360, I'd love to hear it as well down below. And again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out tomorrow's Vlogmas, because I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this model. I'm going to show you how to export it. Because it's the free version, I have to do 2 exports of 2 different toolpaths. No big deal. And then we're going to take those files, import them into the Xcarve Pro, and we're going to go ahead and make a physical tray tomorrow on Vlogmas. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you tune in. And for today, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.